Om Vakrutunda
Vakratunda
Mahakaya
Mahakaya
Suryakoti
Koti
Samaprabha
Samaprabha
Nirvignam
Nirvignam
Kuru Me
Kuru Me
Deva
Deva
Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvada
Sarvada
Saraswati
Saraswati
Namastubhyam
Namastubhya
Varade
Varade
Kamarupini
Kamarupini
Vidyarambham
Vidyarambam
Karishyami
Karishyami
Siddhir
Siddhir
Bhavatu
Bhavatu
Me
Me Sada
Sada Gurur
Guru
Brahma
Brahma
Gurur
Guru
Vishnu
Vishnu
Gurudeva
Gurudevo
Maheshwaraha
Maheshwaraha
Guru
Guru
Sakshat
Sakshat
Param
Param
Brahma
Brahma
Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri Gurave
Gurave
Namaha
Namaha Om
Om
Sahana
Sahana
Bhavato
Vavatu
Sahanau
Sahano Bhunaktu
Bhunakto Sahaviryam
Sahaviryankaravavahai
Karavavahai Tejasvidhavadhitamastama
Tejasvidhavadhitamastuma
Vidvishavahai
Vidvishavahai
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Atadvitiyodhyayaha
Atha Dhyayaha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Loka number 47 Karmanyevadhikaraste
Karmanyevadhikaraste
Ma Paleshu Kadachana
Ma Phaleshu Kadachana
Ma Karma Palaheturbhuhu
Ma Karma Phalahedurvhu
Ma Te Sangostva Karmani.
Mare Sanghostva Karmani.
Important shloka, therefore elaborated and misunderstood, misquoted shloka also. Therefore, we spend more time on this mantra. So now we have to read from the attitude of a bhakta. So let us read. No matter what the karma pala is, I confront Ishvara. When I open my mouth to talk, when my tongue is able to produce the words that tumble out one after the other, it's all because Ishvara is at work. Karma I can do, but karma pala is something that takes place because of the laws that are the Lord. Therefore, karmanyeva adhikaraha aste tava te karma paleshu na iti. Karma I can do, but karma pala is something that takes place because of the laws that are the Lord. So, therefore, every action producing a result, every small, even a small action like opening and closing the eyelids, is a work of the Lord. In every action, there is an intended result that sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't happen. It's all according to the laws. Therefore, as a bhakta, a devotee, I continuously confront Ishvara as I receive my karma pala. Therefore, karma yogi is a bhakta because he acknowledges Ishvara as the karma pala data. So therefore he confront Ishvara. Therefore, bhakta. Without being a bhakta, you cannot be a karma yogi. Bhakta implies acceptance of recognition of Ishvara. So therefore, karma yogi is a bhakta only. Since every result comes from Ishvara, I take it as prasada. Prasada is graceful acceptance of what is given by the Lord or what comes from the Lord for the karma, for the action, what we have done. In fact, Bhagavan doesn't intervene between the karma and the karma pala. What we do, that only we get. But the result depends on so many factors about which We cannot know. We are alpajnaha. We have limited knowledge, limited power. Bhagavan knows. Bhagavan knows our past, everything. Therefore, in keeping with what we have done, the result of the current karma depends on, or depend also on the karma what we have done before. So everything Bhagavan knows, but we don't know. So therefore, what comes, that is accepted as the prasada, gracefully, it is graceful acceptance. Graceful acceptance, that attitude implies recognition of Ishvara. Therefore, since every result comes from Ishvara, I take it as prasada, prasada buddhi. That is what karma yoga is. Prasada, a Sanskrit word that doesn't have an exact English equivalent. Therefore, the word grace as a somewhat intangible connotation, whereas prasada covers both the tangible results and the intangible, the grace. When I offer a fruit to the Lord, it comes back to me, given to me from the altar. What you do, naivedyam, it comes back to you. Before you offer to the Lord, it is nothing but the food. But after offering to the Lord, after the naivedyam, then what comes is prasada. The attitude towards the food itself changes. It is prasada. The fruit that comes back is called prasada. For an English word for prasada to exist, the concept must be there, but it is not there. Therefore, a dieting person may refuse a laddu, but not when he comes to know that it is from Tirupati Venkateshwara. Tirupati Venkateshwara, the temple, Tirupati temple, where laddu is famous. So when even a sugar patient will not refuse the laddu because it comes from the Lord, the prasada. Therefore, he accepts it as a prasada. So what converted the laddu, the sweet, into prasada? The tangible laddu becomes the prasada because the person knows now that it comes from the Lord. Therefore, what converts a karmapala into a prasada is purely your recognition that it comes from the Lord. It is not just a statement, it is seeing, understanding. This is where the word experience can be used, if at all. It is a way of looking at the whole thing. Recognition that Ishvara is a karmapala data converts every karmapala into prasada. Therefore, prasada is not an object, it is a way of looking at an object. Prasada is purely symbolic. If a person with diabetes eats laddus, his blood sugar levels will rise, will definitely rise, not because he is eating prasada, but because he is eating laddus. Prasada is an attitude, a way of looking at an object, which itself is born out of understanding that it comes from the Lord. Therefore, prasada can be anything, a fruit, a leaf, a sugar crystal, a laddu, or even a child. Because in India, a child is looked upon as prasada. There are many people who are named as prasad. Anything that comes to you as a karmapala, as a gift from the altar of Ishvara, is called prasada, which includes the attitudes with which you receive it. Prasada is not received and then cast away disrespectfully. It is received in a certain manner. It is this prasada, then that brings about samatvam, sameness of the mind. Once everything is prasada, I have nothing really to complain about. I have only something to learn. Therefore, when the karmapala comes, I take it as prasada. If it is more than what I wanted, I take it as prasada. If it is less than what I wanted, it is still prasada. If it is exactly what I wanted, opposite to what I wanted, or different from what I wanted, it's all prasada. As every karmapala comes, there is a sameness in your reception of it. This is what Krishna is saying here when he tells Arjuna not to be the cause of karmapala. Ma karma pala hetur bhuhu iti. So this, the karmapala hetu is Ishvara, not Arjuna. Arjuna is the cause of action, but not the cause of its results. Further, Krishna said, let there be no attachment to inaction. Akarmani sangaha ma astu. Action itself is not the problem. It is a response to the result of action that is the problem. Thus, Inaction here means fear of action, not of action as such, but fear that the results you want will not come. Even before you begin doing an action, you expect to fail. Therefore, Krishna told Arjuna, karma itself is not binding, nor does the karma pala bind him. It is his response to the karma pala that makes karma seem like a bondage. Therefore, thus let there be a love for action, but let the results be received by you as prasada iti. Very important mantra. The shloka, karmanya varikaraste. The next shloka, where you see the you'll see the definition of yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Let us read. Yogastakhuru karmani
Yogastha kuru karmani.
sangam tyaktva karoti yaha.
Sangam tyaktva danam che. Sorry,
Sorry,
sangam
sangam
tyaktva.
tyaktva dhananjaya.
Sangam tyaktva dananjaya.
Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. On shloka is a letter. Anyway. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva.
Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
Samatvam yoga muchate.
Yoga uchyate. Okay. Yogaha uchyate. Samatvam yogaha uchyate. Hey Dhananjaya, yogastaha, karma yogastaha, yoge tishtati, remaining in yoga, doing yoga, following karma yoga. Kuru karmani, that is having the steadfastness, the commitment to this kuru karmani, do karma, sangam tyaktva, giving up the sangha, the pressure for the anchoring of the results. When you have the prasada buddhi, then pressure will not be there, sangha will not be there. Therefore, the change in the attitude, sangam tyaktva, karmani kuru, na karmani tyaja, karmani kuru. And siddhya siddhyo samabhutva, with regard to the result, siddhi or asiddhi, success or failure, you treat it as, you encounter with the sameness of mind. It means recognize it as a prasada. Success and failure are not same, but your attitude to success and failure, how you look upon the success and failure. In fact, for a karma yogi, there is no failure. For karma yogi, everything is success. Therefore, what is called failure is also a success. It's a learning. Therefore, and also here, because of the attitude, since it is a prasada, therefore it doesn't look upon even as a failure. Therefore, samatvam yoga uchyate iti. Remaining steadfast in yoga, O Dhananjaya, perform actions, abandoning attachment, remaining the same to success and failure alike. That is important. That is also often not understood or misunderstood. This evenness of mind is called yoga, karma yoga. This is the definition of karma yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Siddhya siddhyo samabhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. With regard to siddhi, success, asiddhi, failure, the samatvam, the sameness of the mind, the attitude with which one looks upon the result of the action, result of the karma, that is called yoga. The karma yogi can only look upon the success and failure, approach the success and failure with the sameness. So that attitude has to be cultivated. Cultivating this attitude is what is called, by doing what is karma, what is called karma yoga. The recognition in your life that Ishvara is a karma paladata brings about a certain attitude that is called samatvam. When you see Ishvara as a karma paladata, then there is a change in your attitude, the approach, the way you look upon the result. So that is called, it's purely attitudinal samatvam. Raga and dvesha are the cause for attachment, sangha. which prompts us to say this should or should not happen to me. The raga dveshas become a sangha with reference to any karma pala that is going to affect you. Then only is it raga dvesha. But if you have the attitude of samatva, raga dveshas are neutralized. They are rendered incapable of creating any reaction in you. The raga dveshas manifest themselves through various karmas, and in time, by one's attitude of samatva, they become neutralized. This is what is meant by karma yoga. Staying or abiding in yoga, being yogastha, means enjoying this attitude of samatva, this evenness of mind with reference to both success, siddhi, and failure, asiddhi, is what is called yoga. It is what makes you a yogi. Samatvam yoga uchyate is a separate sentence in this verse that defines yoga. As stated earlier, there are two definitions for karma yoga in this chapter. The first one is samatva, whereas the other one is yogaha karmasu kaushalam. It's going to come. Scripturally enjoined karma and the four ashramas. Scripturally enjoined actions. Vaidika karma, Shastra Vigita karma, Vaidika karma, they are made of many rituals. These rituals can be divided into four categories. Kamya karma, karmani, meant for producing given results, desired by a given person. Nitya karmani, that is a karma which are performed daily rituals. Naimittika karmani, occasional rituals. And prayaschitta karmani, rituals to right any wrongs done. Prayaschitta karma, penitentiary action. There is a ritual called Putra Kameshti for those who want children. Dasharatha, Rama's father, had no children. Being a king, he had to have children so that there will be someone to rule the kingdom after his death. Naturally, he wanted children. Therefore, he performed the ritual, Putra Kameshti, and had 4 children. Putra Kameshti is still done and known to work even in fairly recent times. Perhaps any ritual in any religion will work if the person performing it has faith, Shraddha in it. Putra Kameshti is a very expensive ritual, so that only a rich man can do it. We see here how the Veda can be very tricky. This kind of karma or ritual is an example of Kamya karma, a ritual performed purely for a given desired result. Even though Kamya karma was designed and unfolded by the Veda, which tells that that a certain karma will produce a certain result, this doesn't mean that Kamya karma is for Antakarna Shuddhi. Particular rituals are mentioned for particular results and are purely for desired objects, Kamya, such as a desire for a child. Similarly, there are many rituals mentioned in the Veda whose result is said to be Swarga. These two are all Kamya Karmani. Then there are Nitya Karmani, Nitya Nainimitika Karmani, which can be considered together Nitya Karma. Means a ritual or prayer that is to be done every day. Which rituals or prayers are to be done depends on a person's status. An unmarried person, brahmachari, has a twofold karma to perform. The first is a prayer, Sandhya Vandanam, enjoined by the Veda to be done 3 times a day, at sunrise, at noon, and at sunset. The second is a fire ritual, Samita Danam, performed once a day in the morning, wherein the prayer is, may I become brilliant, may I learn, may I be a person who has total control over myself. For a married person called a householder, Grihastha, the Nitya karmas differ somewhat. Sandhya Vandana continues, whereas Samita Dana is replaced by Agnihotra, another fire ritual, which is also a Nitya karma. This karma has to be performed twice a day, morning and evening. On the day of marriage, the fire is lit, and it is not allowed to die until the person takes sannyasa or dies. The fire is maintained till every day it is, and the fire ahuti is given and it is maintained, not allowed to extinguish. If the married person dies before sannyasa, the same fire is used for the cremation of the body. Thus, the life of a householder is a dedicated religious life. The person can do anything in between, but these nitya karmas have to be performed every day without fail. When a married person withdraws from the duties of a householder and enters the next stage of life called vanaprastha, a few more karmas are added. These are of the nature of meditation. In this third stage of life, Sandhya Vandana and Agnihotra rituals must still be performed. There is no way of escaping these karmas except by sannyasa or death. In sannyasa, the vow or commitment, diksha, taken earlier to perform these rituals is given up and the person is no longer bound to do these karmas. Once had and the various accoutrements of the earlier initiation are also given up, including the Gayatri Mantra. Only the Omkara remains and a few essentials. By saying that he is no longer interested in gaining heaven, having children, and so on, and by saying that one should be afraid of him, thereafter, that no one should be afraid of him, thereafter, a man becomes a sannyasi, is not a threat to anyone. That is what sannyasa means. Non-competitive. It's not a threat. I am not a threat. Proclaiming to the world by taking sannyasa. It's a very serious commitment. But until sannyasa, you must definitely perform the various rituals enjoined by the Veda. Performing these nitya karmas, karmani, you do gain results in the form of punya or antakarna shuddhi. But the main point here is that they are to be done daily. And generally they are done. Naimitika karmanis, on the other hand, are those rituals to be done on particular occasions, at a particular time, on a particular day, like on the anniversary of the death of one's mother or father. Such a ritual called Shraddha, not Shraddha, Shraddha, which must be performed monthly on the new moon day, and a more elaborate ritual is done on the anniversary date itself. This too is done until sannyasa. Shraddha is not done daily, and it is done only if one's father or mother has passed away. Because these karmas are done on a particular occasion, nimitta, they are called naimittika karmani. Naimittika karmanis are generally performed by the householders. Although the Shraddha karma mentioned above is done by everyone except sannyasis. Other naimittika karmanis performed by householders include the rituals done on the day when the northern and southern solstices begin. The eclipses of the sun and the moon are also recognized in this way based on ancient methods of calculation. It has been said that if you think that the Shastra is false, wait for an eclipse. Finally, karmas that are done to right or wrong, called prayashitta karmanis, they are performed when what is not to be done was done, and there was some omission during the performance of any ritual. Thus, a particular karma can neutralize the results of wrong action, be it an omission or commission. An example of prayashitta karma is Chandrayana, wherein you regulate the amount of food you eat for 1 month. Beginning on the full moon day, you take the amount of food that you ordinarily eat. The next day, you cut it down by 1/15th. The second day, by another 1/15th. Continuing in this way until the new moon day, during which you eat nothing at all. Then you begin again on the first day after the new moon, on the Pratama, on the first day, by taking 1/15th, and then 2/15th on the second day, adding increments of 1/15th portion each day until the full moon day, where again you eat as before. During this entire period, certain rituals are performed. Prashita karma then is a fourth type of a karma of atonement for the papam committed. So nitya karma, naimitya karma, kamya karma, prashita karma. Now, purpose of karma yoga. In karma yoga, you give up kamya karma, and perform nitya naimitya karma as an offering to the Lord, as well as for purifying the mind. According to the definition of kamya karma stated above, kama is always involved. Desire is always involved in kama karma. Desire prompted action, kama karma. This kama is given up in karma yoga. Shankaracharya says here that by performing these Vaidika karma rituals for the sake of antakarna shuddhi, you become a yogi, karma yogi. Otherwise, you are only a karmi. When you perform a karma for a particular end alone, you will gain only that end. You will not gain the mind necessary for gaining the knowledge, that is moksha, because you have no vyavasayatmika buddhi, purushartha nishchaya. If, however, you have vyavasayatmika buddhi, all your karmas are directed towards one thing, moksha. And for moksha, you require the mind, the antakaranam that is prepared. Moksha is not gained through karma. Karma is only for preparing the mind. Thus, preparing the mind through karma becomes yoga for you. In the Gita, the word karma is usually used with reference to Vedic karma. However, when Arjuna was asked to do karma, it was not a ritual to be performed. He was to fight. It was his duty. Shankaracharya confirms this also. Fighting is the to be done, obligatory karma of a Kshatriya. Thus, Karma Yoga covers all activities, not only Vedika, also Laukika karma. And if karma is taken to mean any action performed, which is the actual meaning of the word, then we have to look at karma from the standpoint of a person's entire life. The actions then referred to will be those activities that one performs in the attempt to fulfill all one's ragadveshas. Since you do have ragadveshas and they have to be neutralized, what will you do? You cannot just command yourself to give up your likes and dislikes, as you would a hat. Likes and dislikes are there; they are not just given up. They constitute the person. However, when you perform actions with the sameness of attitude, samatva, towards the results of action, your raga dveshas are neutralized. This attitude is karma yoga. The attitude of samatva mentioned in this verse is not with reference to the action itself, it is with reference to the result, the phalam of any action. This attitude is present in the Vedic culture and it is called prasada buddhi. We have seen that even children are named prasad because they are thought of as prasada. If your son is prasada, then you are also prasada to your parents. Your physical body is not only prasada to others, but also to yourself. Your house is called prasada. The food cooked offered to the Lord and then eaten is also considered prasada. Thus, this attitude, prasada buddhi, is an important aspect of karma yoga. It is important to note here that any translation that says we should perform action without expecting a result has no basis in the Veda. Such an interpretation serves only to create additional complexes. Try as we might, we find that we cannot do karma without expecting some result. The truth of the matter is that no one can perform action without expecting a result. Even a dull-witted person cannot engage in activity without expecting a result. So, phalam anudishya na mandopi pravartate. Even a dull-witted person cannot engage in karma without karma phala, expecting karma phala. Therefore, this meaning of karma yoga must be abandoned. Another definition of karma yoga. Although this shloka presents a particular line of argument, the fact is that this is not the only way of looking at it. Let us therefore look at the other definition of karma yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Karmasu means with reference to actions. Saptami vibhakti, with reference to action. Vishaya Saptami. Thus, with reference to actions, yoga is kaushala, meaning the state of mind or the disposition of a kushala who is an expert. All kinds of meanings are given to this word kaushala. It is the abstract noun of the word kushala, expert. Kushala meaning expert. Kaushala is the abstract meaning of the word kushala. Kaushala. Kushalasya bhavaha. Kaushalam. So, the abstract noun of the word kushala, expert, the qualities that make an expert. Thus, it has been said that kaushala is expertise or skill. From this meaning, a modern translation for the second definition of yoga has come about. People say skill in action is yoga, which seems to convey that it is efficiency of some kind. Although efficiency is always desirable, it is not what karma yoga is about. The inappropriateness of this translation will become clear as we proceed. In the Gita, the word karma is usually used with reference to Vedic karma. However, if karma is taken to mean any action performed, which is the general meaning of the word, then we have to look at it from the standpoint of the person's entire life. Actions then referred to will be the collective activities that you perform in your attempt to fulfill all your ragadveshas. Here, the skill in action interpretation, meaning that if you are very skillful in action, you are a karma yogi, must also be abandoned. This is a secular translation designed to bypass Ishvara. There are a lot of people who read the Gita without recognizing Ishvara at all. Those who want Karma Yoga without recognizing Ishvara as a Karma Paladata simply cannot have it. There is Karma Yoga only when Ishvara is recognized. Karma Yoga is a religious attitude, a devotee's attitude. There is no way of escaping this. There is no such thing as secular Karma Yoga. They say that when there is skill in action, when there is efficiency, then the person is a Karma Yogi. A yogi may be efficient in whatever he does, but how can he be efficient if he is given a job or just beginning to learn to drive, for example? He has not acquired the necessary skill, and therefore he will be inefficient in this respect. Thus, a Karma Yogi can definitely be inefficient in a given area. Conversely, merely because a person is efficient in a given area doesn't mean that he is a yogi. A pickpocket, for example, is very efficient in picking pockets. Whereas if you try to do it, you will get caught. Even before you pick, you will be picked up. Picking pockets is not easy. Not only do you have to be skillful in getting an object out of someone's pocket, you also need to be a master of deception in order not to be accused. Such a person may be skillful in action, but this is not definitely karma yoga. A yogi in action may be skillful, but this doesn't mean that skill in action is yoga. Then what is kaushala? Then what does the word kaushala mean in this definition? To understand this, let us go back to the first definition, samatvam yoga uchyate, where yoga is defined as sameness. Suppose a man says to the Swami, I have likes and dislikes. For instance, I like my neighbor's money. Yes, he has a lot of it and has converted into gold, which he keeps in his safe. I definitely have a raga for his money, and I also have a dvesha for this man. I hate him because he is so blatant about his riches. He thinks he is such a big shot and is always showing off. Therefore, I hate him and I love his money. I want to fulfill my raga dvesha. Also, I happened to listen to your talk yesterday. Until then, I had never heard of karma yoga. Now, I want to ask you, will I continue to be a karma yogi if I carry on with my plan? I have been working on a tunnel between my house and the room in which my neighbor's safe is located. I know how to open the safe. I know how the whole thing has to be done. I have only 1 hour's work left and then I will be there in the room. I was going to do it last night, but having listened to your talk, what I was doing started to bother me. I really wanted to be a karma yogi. It looks to me as though I can continue with my plan and still be a karma yogi because you say I have a right, a choice over my action. I have already sent my wife and children away, and I will not give you their address. I'm telling you only this much, hoping that you will not tell anyone. I intend to join them tomorrow. Tonight I'm off. My house is already empty, and since I have been renting it, I have nothing more to claim from it. Therefore, everything is set, and I'm going to work. Of course, I'm taking a risk. You say that Ishvara is a karma paladata, the giver of the results of action. So I'm going to work 1 hour tonight so that I can clear out the safe. Of course, I do not know what is going to happen. There may be nothing in it at all. My neighbor may have already cleared it out and put the gold elsewhere. Or the gold may be there that I may get caught. I may be shot or beaten up. I may be handed over to the police and have to be jailed for a number of years. Anything is possible. Or I may get away with it also. My hope, of course, is that I will get away with it. Get away with it. Therefore, whatever comes, I'm going to take it as prasada. If I get all the gold, fine, it is prasada. And if I'm beaten up, I will take every stroke as prasada. Will that be okay? Do you think I'm a karma yogi? Do you think that when the Lord says in the Gita, a karma yogi is very beloved to him, he's referring to me? This is what I want to be. I want to be beloved to the Lord. If I take everything as prasada, will I be beloved? It is for this person's sake that we have the definition Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Kaushalam is discretion in one's karma, in one's choice. It is not an untethered choice without norms. It is choice with discretion, meaning that one's choice should be in keeping with certain norms. This then is another very important aspect of karma yoga. The first definition with reference to the results of action, karmapale samatva bhutva, which defines yoga as an attitude of samatva, whereas this definition is with reference to the action itself. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Kaushala is a capacity to interpret correctly. This capacity to interpret with reference to norms for human interaction is a discretion, the expertise. The norm for human interaction is called dharma, and the opposite is called adharma. Dharma and adharma form the standard norms. They are not absolutes in that they have to be interpreted according to the given situation. The person who can interpret them properly is called kushala. Dharma and adharma are not to be interpreted according to convenience, but must be in line with what is proper. Proper interpretation of dharma is what is meant by kaushala. Kaushala is yoga, because again you are not in the hands of your ragadvesha when you exercise discretion in your choice of action. We'll stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.